Hidden in the sacred silence of Ethiopian monasteries, a truth about Lucifer's heavenly rank was preserved for 2,000 years, a truth so dangerous, it was systematically erased from the Bibles, you know. Monks guarded scrolls that reveal his original glory, his cosmic authority, and the rebellion that fractured creation. Now, for the first time, that forbidden knowledge is emerging. What you're about to learn will shatter your understanding of good and evil and expose why powers on earth and in heaven fought to keep this secret. You stand at the threshold of a revelation that changes everything. You've been lied to. For centuries, the story of Lucifer was sanitized, reduced to a simple tale of pride and fall. But in the high monasteries of Ethiopia, a different narrative survived, one that speaks of his true rank in heaven. He was not merely an angel, he was the light bringer, the chief of the cherubim, entrusted with the music of the spheres. His authority spanned galaxies, and his fall was not a sudden rebellion, but a slow unraveling of cosmic order. The early church, fearing this truth would destabilize faith, ordered every copy of the Book of Enoch destroyed. But in Ethiopia, monks copied it in secret, hiding it in caves and crypts. Today, as you hear this, those scrolls are whispering again. If something in you recognizes this truth and you want more revelations like this, leave a comment and stay with this story. Until the end, your reaction tells me to keep opening these doors for you. But why was his rank so dangerous? The answer lies in the architecture of heaven itself and what it means for you. Picture this. Before time as we know it, there was a hierarchy so radiant it defied human comprehension. Lucifer stood at its pinnacle, not as a fallen demon, but as a celestial regent. His title, Bearer of Light, was literal. He orchestrated the dawns and dusks of primordial worlds. This truth was hidden because it reveals that evil did not arise from nothingness, but from the highest echelons of divine trust. The monks knew this, and they risked everything to preserve it. As you listen, feel the weight of that secrecy. Sense the ink on those ancient pages, still potent with revelation. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now it surfaces for you. Why you? Because you were made for this. Your soul aches for the whole story, not the edited version. And this is just the beginning. The real shock is yet to come. What if Lucifer's fall wasn't about pride alone, but about a secret so profound it threatened the very fabric of reality? Stay with me. The layers are about to peel back. To understand the scandal, you must first see the celestial court as it was meant to be. Imagine a symphony of light and sound, where hierarchies of angels moved in perfect harmony, seraphim burned with love, cherubim guarded wisdom, thrones upheld justice, and archangels executed divine will. At the center of it all was Lucifer, not as a villain, but as a masterpiece of creation. Ethiopian texts describe him as the seal of perfection, adorned with every precious stone, his wings spanning the expanse of heaven. He was the morning star, the herald of God's glory, and his rank gave him authority over the cosmic order. This was not a minor role. He was the viceroy of the divine, mediating between the infinite and the finite. The monks preserved this image because it shows that the fall was a catastrophe of cosmic proportions. You feel it, don't you? That gap in the story you were taught. Why would a mere angel cause such upheaval? Because he was no mere angel. His rank meant that his rebellion tore at the very heart of creation. The heavens wept and the earth shuddered in response. This hidden context changes everything. It transforms Lucifer from a symbolic figure into a pivotal actor in a drama that still unfolds in your soul today. The Ethiopian scribes, copying by candlelight, knew that without this context, faith becomes a shallow tale. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're peering into that lost world. And as you do, ask yourself, what does it mean that the highest could fall? What does it say about freedom, about love, about the risks of divine intimacy? The answers are coming, but first, you must witness the invisible architecture he once ruled. The stage is set and the rupture is imminent. The invisible architecture of heaven was a lattice of light, with Lucifer as its keystone. Ethiopian Apocrypha reveal that he was the prince of the presence, standing before God's throne, overseeing the cycles of time and space. His rank included command over the celestial bodies, stars obeyed his voice, seasons shifted at his word. This wasn't mythology. It was the functional order of a pre-fall cosmos. You were made for this revelation because it explains why his fall echoed through all existence. Think of it. When the most trusted being rebels, the universe itself cracks. The monks hid this truth because it exposes a vulnerability in the divine plan, a risk so great that love required freedom, even at the cost of chaos. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're uncovering it. Picture the monastic libraries in Lalibela, where vellum manuscripts detail Lucifer's duties. He tuned the harmony of spheres, directed angelic choirs, and held the keys to primordial knowledge. His rank was so elevated that other archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, served alongside him, not above him. This reshapes the entire narrative. Evil didn't emerge from darkness. It brewed in the heart of light. As you absorb this, feel the tension building. Why did they hide it? Because this truth makes the fall personal. It means that temptation isn't about petty sins, but about the seduction of ultimate power. And Lucifer succumbed. But how? What triggered the rebellion? The monks recorded that too, and it's more shocking than you imagine. The veil is thinning. You're about to step into the moment. Everything changed. The rupture is coming, and with it, a devastation that still scars your world today. The rupture began not with a shout, but with a whisper. In the sacred silence of heaven, Lucifer, bearing his true rank as cosmic regent, uttered a thought that would fracture creation. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Ethiopian manuscripts, like the Book of Enoch, capture this moment in vivid detail. It wasn't sudden pride. It was a slow corrosion of loyalty, fed by his unparalleled authority. His rank gave him access to secrets of the divine mind, and he twisted them into a plan for usurpation. You were made for this story because it mirrors your own struggles with ambition and identity. The monks hid it for 2,000 years because showing Lucifer as a complex fallen hero makes evil relatable and therefore more dangerous. Imagine the scene, heavenly realms trembling as alliances split. A third of the angels, dazzled by his light, followed him. The rebellion was a war of light against light, a civil war in paradise. The Ethiopian texts describe battles that scarred the cosmos, with meteors falling as tears of heaven. This is not metaphor, it's recorded testimony from eyewitnesses, prophets, and seers whose words were almost erased. Why does this matter to you? Because the same forces that played out then are at work in your life now. The temptation to replace God with self is encoded in that ancient fall. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're hearing it. And the aftermath, catastrophic. The fall didn't just banish Lucifer, it implanted a seed of chaos in creation itself. Stay with me. What happened next will shock you. The consequences are written in the very rocks beneath your feet. The aftermath was a cosmic unraveling. When Lucifer fell, his true rank meant that his exile wasn't just personal, it was structural. The harmony he once conducted shattered, introducing entropy, pain, and death into the universe. Ethiopian monks preserved texts that describe the immediate effects. Stars went dark, earth became formless and void, and angelic watchers descended to corrupt humanity. This is the backstory to Genesis that you never heard. They hid it for 2,000 years because it reveals that evil is systemic, woven into the fabric of a wounded creation. You were made for this truth because it explains the brokenness you see everywhere in nature, in society, in your own heart. The fall wasn't a mere event, it was an infection. Lucifer's demotion from light-bringer to adversary created a vacuum of power, and darker forces rushed in. The monks, copying these accounts in isolation, knew that understanding this aftermath is key to healing. But why did they risk their lives? Because they believed that hidden knowledge could set future generations free. Now, that knowledge is reaching you. Feel the weight. Every natural disaster, every war, every moment of despair traces back to that rupture. But here's the hope. If the fall was so profound, then redemption must be equally cosmic. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're piecing together the puzzle. And there's more. Someone witnessed the entire drama and wrote it down. That testimony survived against all odds. Don't go anywhere. The primary evidence is about to surface, and it will rewrite your Bible. The primary evidence is the Book of Enoch, a text so explosive it was banned from the canonical Bible. Ethiopian monks guarded it fiercely, knowing it contained Lucifer's true rank and the detailed account of the fall. Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah, was taken to heaven and shown the celestial secrets. He wrote of Lucifer as the chief of the Watchers, a being of immense power who led others into rebellion. This isn't fringe mythology. It's referenced in the New Testament, Jude 1-14-15, yet scrubbed from mainstream teaching. You were made for this because your faith craves completeness, not censorship. The monks hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're accessing that forbidden library. Imagine touching a copy from the 4th century, where ink spells out Lucifer's original name and titles names that were erased elsewhere. The Book of Enoch describes his rank with precision. He was set over the mountain of God, a phrase echoed in Ezekiel but often obscured. Why does this matter? Because it proves that the biblical narrative is fragmented, with gaps filled by suppressed texts. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived. As you listen, consider, what else was hidden? The Book of Enoch is just the beginning. Other apocryphal scrolls, buried in Ethiopian monasteries, reveal even darker secrets. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now the dam is breaking. And the next revelation? It involves other banned books that paint a fuller picture of heaven's tragedy. Stay tuned. The hidden testimony is about to emerge, and it will challenge everything you thought you knew about good and evil. Hidden testimony abounds in apocryphal texts like the Book of Jubilees, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, and the Apocalypse of Abraham. These works, preserved by Ethiopian monks, offer corroborating details about Lucifer's true rank. They describe him as the anointed cherub who led worship in heaven, his voice orchestrating the praises of creation. His fall was a corruption of that sacred role. You were made for this because it shows that the biblical canon is a curated collection with inconvenient truths removed. The monks hid it for 2,000 years, knowing that these texts held keys to understanding the cosmic conflict. Why were they suppressed? Because they humanize, or rather, angelize evil, making it a tragic fall from grace rather than a mere boogeyman tale. This transforms spirituality from fear to empathy, and that threatened institutional control. Imagine a council of bishops in the 4th century burning scrolls that contained these accounts. But in Ethiopia, far from imperial reach, monks copied them onto goatskin, hiding them in stone jars. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived. Now you're hearing whispers from those jars. These texts reveal that Lucifer's rank included stewardship over human destiny, which he betrayed by teaching forbidden arts to humanity. This ties his fall to ours, making the story intimately personal. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're connecting the dots. And the keepers of this truth? They were more than scribes. They were mystics who believed that revelation would one day spark a global awakening. That day is here. But how did they preserve it through persecution? The answer lies in the remote highlands of Ethiopia, and it's a tale of courage that will inspire you. The keepers were Ethiopian monks, spiritual warriors who guarded forbidden texts through centuries of turmoil. In monasteries like Debre Damo and Geralta, they maintained an unbroken chain of copying and contemplation, passing down Lucifer's true rank as oral tradition and written word. They believed that this knowledge was a spiritual weapon, essential for the end times. You were made for this because their sacrifice echoes your own hunger for truth against opposition. They hid it for 2,000 years, facing threats from foreign invaders, colonial powers, and even church authorities who deemed their texts heretical. Yet they persevered, hiding manuscripts in caves, sealing them in clay pots, and memorizing passages in case of loss. Their devotion was not to Lucifer, but to the full story of God's plan, including its darkest chapters. If you feel that you were made for this kind of hidden truth, write in the comments what most shook you so far, and share this video with one person who also hungers for more. Your voice helps this buried story reach the ones who need it. These monks saw themselves as guardians of a legacy that would one day illuminate the world. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived because of their unwavering faith. Now, you're inheriting that legacy. Feel the connection. As you learn this, you join a lineage of seekers spanning millennia. But the story doesn't end in isolation. Centuries later, outsiders stumbled upon these treasures, triggering a modern discovery that would shake academia and spirituality alike. The monks' patience paid off, and what was found will rewrite history books. Stay with me. The next part reveals how these secrets came to light in our time, and why scholars are both thrilled and terrified. Modern discovery began in the 18th and 19th centuries with explorers like James Bruce, who brought Ethiopian manuscripts to Europe and exploded with the Dead Sea Scrolls in 1947, which contained fragments of Enochic literature. Scholars realized that Lucifer's true rank, as described in these texts, was not an Ethiopian eccentricity, but a widespread ancient belief. Radiocarbon dating, linguistic analysis, and comparative theology confirmed their authenticity. You were made for this because you're witnessing a paradigm shift in real time. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now technology is unveiling it. Picture a lab where scientists examine vellum, revealing ink formulas that match first-century Palestine, or a digital archive where monks' marginal notes warning of the great secret are scanned for the world to see. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived and is now undeniable. Why does this matter? Because it forces a re-evaluation of angelology, the nature of evil, and the Bible's formation. Academic conferences buzz with debates, but often behind closed doors because the implications are too radical for public consumption. Yet here you are, accessing that forbidden discourse. The monk's hidden truth is becoming mainstream, and it's happening through channels like this one. As you listen, you're part of that revelation. But the deeper truth goes beyond academia. It touches the core of your spirituality. What scholars found will rewrite everything, but the theological bombshell is even more personal. Stay tuned. The next layer explores what Lucifer's rank means for your understanding of God, free will, and your own place in the cosmos. This isn't just history, it's your story. The deeper truth is theological. Lucifer's true rank reveals that evil arises from within the divine household, not from outside it. This means that goodness is not immune to corruption, and that free will is a cosmic gamble with eternal stakes. Ethiopian mystics contemplated this for centuries, developing a theology where Lucifer's fall is a cautionary tale about the perils of glory. You were made for this because it answers your deepest questions about suffering and evil. They hid it for 2,000 years because it complicates the simple narrative of God versus Satan. Instead, it presents a universe where love requires risk and where even the highest can choose betrayal. This isn't heresy, it's a profound mystery that deepens faith. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived in those monastic libraries. Now, you're grappling with it. Think about it. If Lucifer was so close to God, his fall suggests that proximity to divinity doesn't guarantee fidelity. This mirrors your own spiritual journey times when you felt near to the sacred yet stumbled. The monks preserved this truth to foster humility and vigilance. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now it's a beacon for those weary of simplistic answers. This knowledge transforms Lucifer from a cartoon villain into a tragic figure, making the cosmic conflict more nuanced and more real. And it reframes redemption. If the greatest fell, then no one is beyond hope. This isn't just ancient history. This is about you. Your struggles, your aspirations, your fears all are echoed in that primordial drama. But how does this translate to your daily life? The next part brings it home, showing why this revelation is a personal calling. Don't go anywhere. The stakes are about to get intimately personal. Your calling emerges from this revelation. Knowing Lucifer's true rank isn't about academic curiosity. It's about understanding your own spiritual authority and vulnerabilities. You, like Lucifer, are created with immense potential, capable of great light or deep shadow. The monks hid this truth for 2,000 years because they knew it could empower or devastate, depending on the heart that receives it. You were made for this, because your soul seeks to navigate that duality with wisdom. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived to guide you. Imagine applying this insight. When you face pride or ambition, remember that even the highest fell, urging humility. When you encounter evil, see it as a perversion of original glory, fostering compassion rather than fear. This knowledge is a tool for transformation, breaking chains of religious guilt and opening doors to authentic grace. The Ethiopian monks saw themselves as stewards of such tools, and now you're holding them. Feel the urgency? This isn't passive learning, it's an activation. You're being called to integrate this hidden truth into your faith, to question inherited narratives, and to seek the full story. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're awakening to it. And the evidence isn't just in texts, it's etched into the physical world. Ruins, inscriptions, and artifacts across Ethiopia whisper corroboration. Your journey doesn't end in contemplation, it leads to exploration. Stay with me. The next part reveals the tangible traces that prove this history, and they're waiting for you to discover them. The opposition tried to bury them, but they failed. What will you do with that proof? Physical traces abound in Ethiopia, ancient churches carved from rock like those in Lalibela, adorned with reliefs depicting angelic hierarchies, inscriptions in Ge'ez script that mention Lucifer's pre-fall titles, and manuscript fragments found in archaeological digs that match the hidden texts. These aren't coincidences, they're corroborating evidence that the monks' preservation was grounded in a living tradition. You were made for this because seeing is believing, and these sites offer a pilgrimage into the truth. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar are uncovering more. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived in stone and soil. Picture standing in the Church of St. George in Lalibela, where a cross-shaped trench symbolizes the cosmic crossroad of fall and redemption. Or touching a Stelian axiom that references the morning star's descent. These places are not just tourist attractions, they are testimonies in rock, waiting for discerning eyes. The monks embedded their knowledge into architecture, knowing that buildings outlive books. Now you're virtually visiting them, connecting dots across millennia. Why does this matter? Because it proves that this hidden history is not mere legend, but a recorded reality. It invites you to look beyond texts to the land itself, where the drama of heaven left its mark. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now the earth is speaking, and yet not everyone listened. Opposition arose to silence these voices, leading to centuries of suppression. The next part exposes that opposition, the forces that tried to erase this truth, and why they feared it. Stay tuned. The conspiracy is deeper than you think, and it affects you today. The opposition was systematic. Early church councils like Laodicea, 363-364 AD, and Carthage, 397 AD, banned apocryphal texts, labeling them pernicious and false. Bishops ordered burnings, scribes were excommunicated, and the narrative of Lucifer's true rank was erased from Western Christianity. Why? Because it threatened institutional control by suggesting that evil originated within divine intimacy, which could lead to questioning authority and dogma. Ethiopian monks resisted this. Operating on the fringe of Christendom, you were made for this because you're seeing how truth is often casualty to power. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're uncovering the cover-up. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived through sheer tenacity. Imagine the fear. If believers knew that Lucifer was once God's favorite, they might sympathize with the fallen, or worse, doubt God's omnipotence. So, the story was simplified into a black-and-white morality tale. This suppression wasn't just historical. It continues today in seminaries that avoid Enochic literature and in churches that dismiss mystical traditions. But the monk's legacy endures, whispering through the cracks. Now you know what they feared. The question is, what will you do? Will you accept this forbidden knowledge or revert to the sanitized version? Your decision matters because it shapes not only your spirituality, but also the collective memory of faith. They hid it for 2,000 years. But now, the choice is yours, and that choice leads to a final explosive revelation. Don't go anywhere. The last piece of the puzzle is about to fall into place, and it will redefine everything you've heard so far. Your decision is urgent. This isn't just about absorbing information, it's about letting it transform you. Will you embrace the full, messy truth of Lucifer's true rank with all its implications for cosmic vulnerability and human responsibility? Or will you retreat into comfortable ignorance? The Ethiopian monks faced this choice daily, and they chose preservation even at great cost. You were made for this moment, to carry their torch into a world hungry for depth. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you're at the crossroads. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived for you. Feel the weight. Your acceptance of this truth honors those monks and fuels a resurgence of authentic spirituality. It means questioning, seeking, and perhaps even facing opposition yourself. But it also means freedom from shallow faith, from fear of evil, from dogma that stifles the soul. If this revelation is reshaping how you see the sacred and you want more forgotten texts and forbidden histories uncovered, say it in the comments and follow this channel. Your support is what makes the next revelations possible. This is more than a video. It's a movement towards unveiled truth. And now, the final revelation awaits. It ties all the threads together: Lucifer's rank, the fall, the preservation, the opposition, into one shocking insight that will leave you breathless. Stay with me. The last chapter is coming, and it will change how you see yourself in the cosmic story forever. The final unveiling is this: Lucifer's true rank was not just a position of power. It was a mirror for humanity's own divine potential and peril. Ethiopian mystics believed that his story encodes a secret, that every soul carries a spark of that original light, capable of illuminating or burning. His fall warns against mistaking privilege for ownership, and his hidden rank reveals that God's plan includes even the greatest failures in redemption. You were made for this revelation because it completes your spiritual anatomy. They hid it for 2,000 years, but now you hold the key. They didn't want you to know this, but the evidence survived to liberate you. Look back. From the celestial courts to Ethiopian monasteries to this very moment, the truth persisted against all odds. Why? Because it's essential. Lucifer was the light bringer, and in a profound sense, you are too called to bear light in a shadowed world, but humbled by the knowledge that light can be corrupted. This isn't about glorifying evil, it's about understanding it deeply to overcome it. The monk's sacrifice, the suppressed texts, the physical traces, all converge here in your awakening. You're not just learning history, you're inheriting a legacy of courage and truth. Let this reshape your faith. See evil as fallen glory. See yourself as both vulnerable and exalted, and see God's grace as vast enough to encompass even the deepest falls. The journey ends, but your transformation begins. Go forward with this knowledge. Share it wisely. Live it boldly. The veil is lifted. You were made for this. Now you know.